It used to be Edwin Nazilio's job to keep those contracts clean. When he discovered a problem with an Indian company who'd won a contract worth $27 million, he went to work.
We had a lot of problems, and one of them had to do with the technicians that were supplied by the Indian company. By contract, the Indian company was supposed to pay them a daily subsistence allowance of $143. They were not paying that. There was no satisfactory explanation why that money was not reaching the technicians.
What Edwin discovered was that the workers were forced to sleep on the ground and were not getting any food because their allowance was being kept by the company. The man responsible for the contract was Sanjaya Bahel, a senior UN official responsible for doing deals worth millions of dollars.
The moment Sanjay Bahel found out that I was auditing that contract, he started secretly communicating with my supervisors in New York, basically questioning my motives and asking whether the audit should be performed of that contract.
What Edwin didn't know was that Bahel was a close friend of the agent for the company Edwin was investigating, Nishan Kohli. Despite Edwin's concerns, there was never a proper investigation.
The problem I had was that in the oversight services did not stick with me. They actually sided with Bahel against me to try and kill the audit or kill the report.
But in 2004, the relationship between the agent and the official was almost exposed when a whistleblower spotted irregularities in the contracts. An investigation followed. The result, this letter from Bahel's boss stating the investigators found no substance in the allegations and recommends that Mr. Bahel be cleared of all allegations. But within the UN, some senior officials were concerned that this was a whitewash. According to a secret report written last year and obtained by Panorama,
it became clear that cases involving fraud and corruption in procurement services were not being properly investigated, if investigated at all.
It went on to say that cases were often unilaterally closed. In 2006, a new task force was set up to investigate allegations of corruption within the organisation's multi-billion-pound purchasing operation. Bob Appleton, a former US prosecutor, runs it. And top of Appleton's list to reinvestigate...
Well, the Bahel case landed on my lap in March of 2007. And when you're a procurement official, a UN, international public servant, you're supposed to be acting objectively, pristinely, and fairly. Bahel corrupted the process by favoring the company, acting as the company's de facto agent in the procurement process.
The task force proved that Bahel had accepted bribes from Nishan Kohli, the agent for the Indian company.
He gained a personal benefit from his actions, namely below market rates and a very valuable piece of real estate in Midtown Manhattan.
A luxury apartment in this block overlooking the UN is what Bahel got as his payoff. But Bahel was not the only UN official Kohli was trying to bribe. While Bahel got an apartment for his colleagues, Kohli had other sweeteners in mind. Kohli pleaded guilty and gave evidence for the prosecution. He told the court he treated other UN officials to nights on the town, complete with strippers and escorts. It cost him $6,000. This month, Bahel was sentenced to 8 years in prison. But why did it take so long to catch him?
There had been a previous audit and previous claims made that there was something amiss, and ultimately that had not been acted on. And certainly now, looking back on it, I mean, the complaints and criticisms that were raised at the time were very valid.